Did you have any mock exams or anything at the end of year 12?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have mock exams at the end of year 12? Okay. Did you guys approach it any differently when you compare, say, the GCSEs? Did you approach revision any differently for year 12 exams, Abdullah?
No. The way I revise has always been exactly the same. It's just been, I've got the textbook containing every bit of information I need. I'll go home after class, I'll look through the textbook to refine the knowledge, and I'll do a bunch of questions on that topic. It's always been like that, and I don't see it changing for this year. I would say near exam time, it changes a little bit. GCSEs, I don't remember doing too many past papers for GCSEs. I don't know about you, Tane.
I did quite a few.
Okay.
You did your speed runs with mum.
Yeah, I used to do the past papers orally. But yeah, I'll let you finish your point.
Maybe I'm misremembering. I don't. To be honest, I don't actually remember too much from GCSE, from revising for GCSEs or preparing. I know I did it, but I don't remember too much about it.
It clearly didn't make a difference to your results whether you did past papers or not.
For these AS levels, I did AS levels papers because that's basically what we had for our end of year exam. I did a lot of them. And just going back to your past question, the last question about the workload from teachers, I felt like it really changed around that period where you're trying to do past papers, because so many people are at different points of whether they know the content or not. And you might know the content but might want to do a past paper, or you might not know content and someone else might want to do a past paper. So that sort of independent study really comes into it with that. But yeah, I don't think it changed too much between GCSE and A level or AS level in terms of revision.
What about you?
I think some people expect that IB is just going to be the same as GCSE revision because you're still taking 6 subjects and you have to balance it. For me, I had to spend 70% of my time with high level maths. So already 100% of my time, I'm already down to 30% because I purely had to spend that much time at high level maths to get a good mark, not even to get an exceptional mark. So it left me with limited time to revise 5 subjects, which is quite daunting. And I think the year 12 exams are really awkward. I'm not sure if you agree with this, Abdullah, but you want to do past papers, but you've not covered enough of the content to do a full past paper. So what you kind of end up doing, which is a bit frustrating, is you open a past paper and then you can't do the first 10 questions, but you can do the last question, but you've not learned enough to do the question before. So it gets really messy and you end up kind of flying through a past paper, which is out of 100 marks and you've only done 10 marks worth of questions. So I think that's where you've got to search up topic specific questions rather than just do past papers. And also you don't want to kind of waste the past papers so early on in the course because you're really going to need them for the second year. In terms of year 12, I think the easy point with the importance of the year 12 mock exams and does your mindset change. The year 11 mock exams, or the year 10, I assume, the year 10 mock exams don't mean a massive amount for your career, but the year 12 mock exams is where your predicted grades come from, which determines which universities you can apply with, how successful you're going to be, your chances of getting into the universities you want to. So year 12 mock exams are like 10 times more important. You know, some people even say they're more important than your actual exams because obviously when the university makes you an offer, it tends to be lower than what you've applied with. So I think just having that in the back of my head, I remember what I did for the push-up story, another strange thing that I did. I got a piece of paper and I wrote the universities that I wanted to go to, and I wrote the score that I needed to go to them, and I stuck it in front of where I do my work in the study. So anytime I was kind of like getting bored, I'd look up and I'd see those grades and I'd see the admission statistics of like 9%, for example, for Oxford. And then that would drive me to get back on with revision. And then that kind of leads nicely into how do you revise for a subject that you don't like. There is no special tip. You just got to do it and get over it. that's what I did. And then obviously I did the 7 push-ups, had to do it.
7 because that's
7
the IB,
was the highest
but it
score.
was 9 push-ups
Yeah.
for GCSE.
So that was good. Yeah.
Did you have any sort of weird tips or tricks that you kind of established for yourself in revision?
No, none at all. To be
Just
honest,
got it done.
I'm
Love
really
that,
curious.
just get it done.
I'm really curious about this push-up story because I don't think I've heard this before.
So I'll explain it in IB context, but basically, so in IB, the highest score you can get is 7 points. And it's probably worth actually explaining what 45 points is made up of.
Yeah, please do.
So you do 6 subjects, 3 high, 3 standard, 3 high are the important ones, the ones that universities tend to look at. And your 3 highs tend to be kind of the equivalent of maybe an A level and a little bit more. And then your standard levels are kind of a little less than A level. And that's how it kind of, that's
out.
the best way to put it into terms, in A level terms. And so the highest score you can get is 7. So obviously many of you are now realizing that adds up to 42, not 45. So those 3 points are then made up of a theory of knowledge essay, which is, I don't even know how to explain it, and I'm doing it right now.
Is it the 4,000 word one?
No, so you have to do a 4,000 word extended essay on anything of your choosing. So I've submitted mine. Mine was the impact of the influx of Syrian refugees on Turkey's socio-economic kind of landscape. And then you've got your CAS, which is your volunteering. And then that TOC essay, I think the best way to describe it is it's a bit of like kind of philosophy. It's kind of branded as thinking about thinking. So it's a very difficult subject it's not as easy as just looking at an essay criteria and thinking I'm going to hit those criteria points because it's so individual, it's so ambiguous as to what is good. And you kind of you've just got to just hope that it kind of all comes together really for those 3 points.
And do you get any specific lessons on that?
Yeah, you do. You get specific TOK lessons. So that's how it comes up to 45. So for my mocks, obviously 7 is the highest you can get. So the night before all of my mock exams, I would do 7 push-ups to ingrain the number 7. And that's what I did for my GCSEs, but it was obviously 9 push-ups.
So it weren't as hench.
No, I wasn't as big after the mock exams, unfortunately. But yeah, that was a strange thing that I just
That is
did.
interesting.
Yeah.
But no, nothing for you.
No.
Abdullah just
not at
shows
all.
up, gets a 9, goes home.
Yeah, winning.
So I was honestly less stressed in the exam period than I was running up to it because I was in preparation for the exams. I made sure that I worked hard enough to be confident by the time the exams even came around. So by the time my first exam, which was RE, came around, I was way less nervous for the exams than I was a week or 2 beforehand. I actually think in the exam period, I think it was chemistry, if I remember correctly, I didn't look over anything to do with chemistry in the whole exam period because I was just that confident before the exam because I had put in the work before the exam. So I actually wasn't nervous during the exam period, weirdly enough. I was more nervous beforehand, so I didn't have anything like that to sort of de-stress, I suppose.
Yeah, I'd have to second that. I think obviously, me getting sweaty doing push-ups makes me seem like I was stressed, but I was actually, pretty calm. And even in the year 12 mock exam, it's kind of like a little mantra almost, but I kind of just kept telling myself that if I put 120% into my revision, I don't really care what the results are because I know that I've worked as hard as I can. And if the results aren't the greatest, then maybe that's not what God has in store for me. Maybe there's just other things. And so that kind of 120% was kind of my motto. And when you walk into an exam knowing that you've worked as hard as you can, you actually kind of like, you're at peace with it almost. And whatever the result is, you at least think, I really did my best for this. And obviously Abdullah and myself came out with pretty strong predicted grades. So it's just having that motivation to keep revising, keep doing past paper questions, not get too complacent. And I think that's easier at year 12 than it is at year 10, because at year 10, you're a bit less mature. At year 10,
you've been through it once. In year
exactly.
10, yeah.
And also in year 10, the mocks aren't as important, but you've got that UCAS looming over you when you're doing your year 12 mocks, and that the results you get is going to determine what you apply to, which universities. There are a lot of boys, a lot of people I've heard from, not just in school, but who had Oxford applications, and they got so caught up in the dream of going to Oxford, they actually forgot to study. and then year 12 mocks came around and they didn't get the grades they needed, and then they couldn't apply to Oxford. Yeah. And it's game over, right? So you have to use that university thing as a motivation, but don't let it eat you up. Because instead, if you're, sitting on your laptop, searching through which Oxford college you'd like to spend your time at, rather than doing your revision, you won't be going to any Oxford college. And that's it sounds really mean and really harsh, but unfortunately that is how it is. And I'm glad that I was able to I think I found that balance. And that's obviously been harder this year because now I've got the grades. It's pretty easy to get complacent.
Yeah.
But that was finding that balance is so crucial for those people aiming for the real top universities.